Tell me your story.
I was this close to dying from a brain abscess that was misdiagnosed.
Good to know people care, though.
For a lot of people, the MRIs are clear.
You said you had a lot to tell.
Oh, yeah.
Someone said,
I thought it was normal to have like seizures by yourself all the time.
You definitely will feel guilt a lot.
I so appreciate you putting this together.
thank you. I got something that says dating with epilepsy. How do you tell a girl or a guy that's flirting with you that you have seizures? There's a guy that I think will ask me out next week and I like him, but I'm nervous about sharing this part of my life. He's very kind, but I'm afraid I'll scare him. FYI, we've known each other for a couple of months, but only ever hung out in the young adults group at our church, and I keep my seizures pretty quiet. Only a couple people know because they have been there, and he is not one of them.
Don't tell him.
How do you tell people? That was the question. I try to get that out of the way first because that's the biggest red flag to a lot of people who don't have it or don't understand what it is. I usually start with, I have epilepsy. Do you know what it is? And I have kids. If we can get past those, then usually it goes pretty far. But if you can't get past my epilepsy, I don't mind just getting a second opinion somewhere else.
Yeah, she can find a really easy way to bring it up. Talk about the medication. You know,
Yeah, guys are pretty easy these days. They don't care about epilepsy. Just saying, from not personal experience, but from stuff I see, a lot of these guys don't have to be impressed much.
Yeah, but it's easy for a girl to definitely feel like it's a weakness, more making her more like vulnerable or susceptible, especially if she hasn't met him yet. You really don't even know if he's worth it. Don't bother. So that way he's still not judging you. You have a better chance of figuring out who you're really talking to.
Yeah, and then also they know him from a church group. He might not be as mean or dismissive as many others might be.
Yeah, that's
Didn't she say they were friends already?
Yeah, I think she said they knew each other like 2 months, right?
Yeah, I don't think she said friends. They're just in the same circle. Yeah, same church circle. So.
And they don't know she has epilepsy? Yeah.
No,
Must be
quiet and only a few people know.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
if he asks her out, I would tell him.
Go ahead, Jeff.
If he asks her out, I would tell him beforehand, just like you said. Get it out of the way. If he can't accept that, what's the point of wasting the time?
Right. Don't get too far without throwing that out there.
Yeah.
It's unrelated. Actually, it is very related. Epilepsy is going to affect your life forever, whether you're on meds or not, having seizures or not. It's there. And if this person, you already socialize with them in other settings, it might make it easier to say, hey, want you to know that if this happens, like if I just start staring off into space, I'm not ignoring you.
Did the person mention what type of seizures they have?
No.
In the post? Oh, okay. Because that's another thing that can make a big difference too. You know, if it is just mild ones versus,
I hate to say this,
full on
but
grand mal, but
Dragon Boy's home from Taekwondo. I'll be back after bedtime.
All right, we'll see you in a bit.
All right, see you later.
Peace.
All right, looks like you guys are going to be stuck with me again for a little bit.
I got some comments though here. One says,
okay.
one says mention it Mention it at the group. Wear a little band with it. Wear a little band with it. Tell a light story either at the group or solo. That vaguely mentions your epilepsy. Nothing traumatic, obviously. If you can't drive because of your epilepsy, bring it up that way or let him overhear it. If he's a nice guy, there's no way it'll scare him off. If you don't want the guy anyways, good luck. I met my wife online and I told her, in quote, just so you know, I have seizures. She told me in response, just so you know, I'm not exactly skinny. Everyone has something. Catch 22. When I was 19, I told my 37-year-old, told my female 37-year-old, oh, she has this all over the place. When I was 19, I told my now husband, 38-year-old male, I'm a 37-year-old female, hey, end quote, hey, I have epilepsy. Here's what to do when I have a seizure. It was not an issue. It was just a casual passing random fact about me. I think keeping it casual helped communicating, end quote, not a big deal. If it is an issue, he sucks and doesn't deserve you. You must trust that person very much. You could easily be hurt or taken advantage of and potentially never know. Be safe. Good luck. I usually leave it for the second or third date thing to bring up. No, not safe. Maybe wear a piece of jewelry or a shirt, depending on where you will be going, or maybe steer a conversation, light conversation adding up as a topic. Better he know now. I always say that's why I don't drive. Well, it's more complicated than that now. I met my husband in a coffee shop. I met my husband on coffee, meets bagel, and literally it's one of the first things I told him. And I just said, I have epilepsy just in case. That's a deal breaker. All right. Those were all the comments there. So yeah, dating with epilepsy doesn't seem that hard, but everyone's different. So Kate, you got something there?
Yeah, I got a couple posts talking about a public transport win. This is a victory story. I've always been really scared to go on public transport just alone, or no, public transport alone, just in case a seizure happens. Today, I've gone into town with my mom to her office and then tested myself and went home on the bus early. I did it all alone, and honestly, it felt great. That's a big first step, especially going alone. Somebody's saying, I live in Russia with this disease, and we have a problem with the fact that the windows of public transport are often not washed. The numerous dirt spots on the glass make me feel like I'm about to have another seizure. The only solution I found is to simply look away, read a book, or distract myself by listening to music. Oh. Well, that's definitely something you have to take into account. Yeah,
I've
a lot
had
of
a lot of
congratulations comments. Go ahead.
I've had a lot of focals in the car, and that's basically what I've learned to do is just basically don't look around. Because if I'm looking around, I'm a lot more likely to have a focal.
Hey, you can only learn that on from experience.
Right. Doesn't happen if I'm looking down at my phone or something like that. Only happens when I've been looking out the window.
And there you go. You learn from
Yeah.
experience.
Andrea, are you taking B12?
I am now.
Okay.
I haven't had one since I had focal the day that I started taking it, but I haven't had one since.
That's my
Okay.
story. I had one the day after, and I don't remember how long it's been since Pookie first said it, and I haven't had one since.
Mine was the 3rd of September.
Oh, okay.
Great.
Yeah.
terrific.
So,
You're halfway through a month.
right.
That's
Doing
awesome.
pretty good.
And welcome to Anne. How you feeling?
Hello. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Awesome.
Um, yeah,
Well, you sound like you're on top of the world.
oh, and not totally. I'm getting there. Still can't climb, but yeah, my shoulder is getting better. We had to
You're
play.
seriously not gonna say that you're back on top, back to top shape until you can like climb on the roof or something, right?
No, maybe
Okay.
when I can put my hair up. We'll say when I can put my hair up, I'll be at the top. So, I mean, I can't use that arm, so I can't put it in a ponytail. I have to use my teeth to hold a headband to put a headband on my head. I'm not at the top yet. So all right, I'll let you see it. It's no big deal, but it's a little
Aw.
bit, yeah, it's hi.
It's
But
You're working it.
sexy.
like
There
I
you go.
said,
You're working it.
okay, here's the fun, and I don't care if it ends up on YouTube. If I said, I don't know if I told you guys when I came home from my surgery, what's the first thing I wanted because I was so drugged. I needed to feel the baseline I recognized. My daughter
Okay.
packs me a bowl of this beautiful AK, cherry AK that we were given because I had surgery. They're like, okay, oh, well, this is different. I'm going to give you this stuff instead, kind of thing. So she gets it all set. She packs the bowl. I'm ready. I had a Bic. Okay. I didn't have my Zippo. And I'm like, all right, here's my bowl. Here's my flame, right? Here's my bowl. I can't lift my arm. So, me being the true stoner I am, I lowered my face to the flame to light that. I literally put my face into the flame. And at that moment, I realized we do that every time we have a seizure. We all do that. We are putting our face in the flame and facing it and saying, okay, here we go. You ready? But it just kind of cracked me up. I'm like, what kind of substance would make you do that? Um, Something that's going to make me feel better. And the nausea was gone. I mean, the surgery went great. I had a couple seizures afterwards, no big deal. Lorazepam and Valium took care of that. Saw my epileptologist today. I like him even more. He likes me even more. We spent more time, and I'm looking at my watch, and he's like, do you need to be somewhere? I said, no, I'm taking up your time. He said, I don't have another appointment until 10. And we're his first at 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. And I'm like, oh. And my daughter is like learning. She said, I don't know what you guys were just talking about. I'm totally lost. So he caught her up on what was going on and what he and I were talking about and explained it to her, my caregiver. And she's like, but I see this happening and I don't know. He said, we confirmed the myoclonic. We don't know if it's an actual seizure, but it can be that it is. But we're not going to take the time to look for it in your brain because we need to make it stop. So they put me back on pre-gambling, which was that questionable medication that I was taking for these little focal seizures that bug the hell out of us. And he's like, okay, what's the story? Because the nurse I didn't want to work with would not refill the prescription. So he's looking in the notes and he's like, all right, how about we put you back on this? Because even if you were taking it for pain, we need you to stop jumping around, especially now. So I'm like, yeah, that would be nice. But he's really, really good. I really appreciate him. I'm not fighting with my doctor anymore. So okay, for that I'm on the top of the world. That not having to argue with him because oh, he's got this right in his face from the surgery from another neurologist. And he's like, so it sounds like you were going bilateral on this one. And he recognized it right away because the doctor put notes in that he was ready with the Ativan, watching for bilateral activity. And then, boom, the next note, the push of the Ativan. And in 5 minutes, I was asleep and no more jerking around. So, not that only epilepsy responds to Ativan, but it's more likely that it was a seizure. So he's like, I'm not even going to bother trying to find out because we're going to be treating the other seizures with the same medication. And we might be able to get somewhere this time. But, you know, giving me meds, taking them away, giving them back, taking them away. That was the pregabalin for the last 5 years. And the last time they had an argument, I said, okay, I'll just remove the argument and we'll go forward from there. And sure enough, you know, my seizures, the focals are getting worse. Oh, I forgot my water. So, but he's definitely listening. And I'm just grateful that I was able to be in a situation where a doctor could say, no, this was epilepsy. She's reacting, you know. I don't know how many of you guys react to things like anesthesia, nerve blocks, you know, stuff like that. My brain is like, what the hell is going on? What do I do? So, you know, who knows what the brain decides, you know, but I know when I'm under a lot of stress and I have that, they call it reflexive seizures. Yeah, where something, it's a very obvious trigger and it happens every single time. So they've put it in for a reflexive, for anesthesia, and it changes the course of the anesthesia. So that's why I didn't have a bigger problem when I had the surgery, because they're like, yeah, we get it now.
You
And they
left them
walk.
no other choice but to agree on a really important point.
Right.
They couldn't
And
deny it.
exactly. And because, and I tell everybody this, if you have a patient portal, always put those questions and those requests that are literally top priority, put those in a message in your my chart so they cannot deny that you told them.
Not only that, but to every provider on the team,
Exactly.
especially for
Yep.
these major procedures.
Yep. And even I couldn't reach the anesthesiologist individually, but I could reach the surgical team. And when I met the anesthesiologist and we're chit chatting, and I'm like, oh no, we got to talk because he had to give me Medalazam. And I'm like, okay, just let everybody know later. And he said, honey, as soon as you wake up in the operating room, my job is done. And I'm like, that's rather dismissive. He's like, no, I'm getting a nurse because I don't want to go through all this work and have you tear it up. So he's like, he got a nurse because he's not wrong. Once you're done with surgery, the anesthesiologist is removed from that responsibility. So they really can't do anything for you. So he was kind enough to say, let me get the nurse. So the nurse took the information that went basically to the post-op recovery. So they were aware. This is what happens when I'm given Medalazam. Click goes the clock. Within 7 to 12 hours, I had that seizure in 7.5 hours after the Medalazam. So, and then before they read the notes, they gave me more Medalazam in an IV. So I was just didn't know what was going on for, I don't know, a good 5 hours, 6 hours. I wake up in that myoclonic whatever, and my daughter walked in, and she knew. She could see my feet. Everybody's around my bed, and she knew. And that's when they got neuro. They said, okay, this is what's going on. And they're asking me, oh, these seizures that you have, what do you know about them? And I'm like, in that going into that ictal phase. Yeah. And Natalie is like, you better give her something and then ask her questions. So they pushed the Ativan, calming down. And I'm like, oh God, because I could feel the muscles just calming down. Just having surgery, I've got all of these tense muscles and you could hear it. Okay, I know how morbid that sounds. You could hear my body relaxing. And it was like, yeah, I think that was a close one. But they're like, we weren't looking for something like that. That was the biggest thing. It's just, I can't get it out of my head. We weren't looking for something like that. So what were you looking for? But still, I didn't have the same huge problem that I had the last surgery when they're like, you're not having a seizure. Oh, you just busted your head open on purpose, you know? And it's like, no, I think there's something wrong. But yeah, I'll be on the top of the world when I can. Yeah. They told me another 2 weeks in this stupid immobilizer just because of my seizures.
You want
So
to take a break to get your water?
yeah, I'll go. I'll go. I'm waiting for the dog. I'm just kind of chilling.
Okay.
But yeah, things are going good. I'm still recovering. It's been 2 weeks tomorrow.
Well, I'm
So
really anxious to hear your answer of what age would you like to stay forever? That was our icebreaker today.
45.
Oh, okay.
45. My 40s in spite of my epilepsy diagnosis. Yeah. My mid 40s were the best because I was done with the bullshit in my life. I was on my feet supporting my kids. My oldest was graduating from high school, and I'm like, boom, boom, Mama Bear got it done. And I had my youngest, my son was home. So we had time to do what we wanted. And and socially in so many ways by 45, I was like, okay, you can think that. I'm not worried about what you think of me because um I get to run my life. And but it took me about that long to figure it out. But yeah, 45. And it's funny because I was officially diagnosed at 46, but still, yeah, definitely my mid 40s, the best.
And that's exactly why I appreciate your icebreaker answers every time.
Oh, well, thank you.
Someone here is talking about title is pretty anxious. So this is a question. Hey folks, before all my health problems began, I performed music a fair amount. I haven't performed in 4 years due to epilepsy and brain cancer. I was nervous I'd fall over as was usually the case before seizure meds. This Sunday, I'm going to play a show again with one of my favorite projects. It's a small festival in my town that happens every year. We've played it almost every year, whether I've been able to or not. My question is, has anyone else in here stopped performing live due to epilepsy? Did you start again? How did it feel? I guess I'm most worried about having a seizure mid-song. I seem to remember the lyrics just fine, minus the new ones we're going to try. So, can't really give any personal experience on this one, but it sounds like they might be okay if they just take into account all the factors. If that situation, circumstance, anything about that circumstance is a trigger, maybe it wouldn't be worth it just because obviously everybody else on stage is going to be thinking about what if. So this one's kind of risky. And it
I
sounds like
would,
personal experience is going to be the way to go.
yeah, I have no personal experience, but I would think that you would have to go with personal triggers and know yourself kind of thing.
Yeah. What about you, Jeff?
Before I go, I wanted to change my original answer after hearing Annie.
I knew
To
it.
my,
See, Anne
to
has an
my
influence.
age. I
Okay.
would want to be 37.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, I would want to be 37
That's a big jump.
because that's when I fell in love with Liz. So, and that was the best time of my life.
That's sweet.
So please change my official answer. Thank you, and I will be back later.
Officially noted.
Love you,
Wear your
Jeff.
seatbelt. So somebody else is saying on that music festival one that they're striving towards that goal themselves, and the OP just keeps writing everybody back saying, "Wish you all the luck in the world." I'm gonna try my best. Of course, this week so far I'm 2 seizures in and a couple dizzy leg days, but hoping it'll work itself out by Sunday. I hate to say this one just sounds too risky to me, especially
I say
it's
that
more
doesn't.
so because you're with a group. You're on stage with a bunch of other people that obviously you want this to work out, and maybe it's just not the right time. So if you get a chance to hear everybody's answer to this one, best of luck, but don't rush it. That's something that I can speak from experience. When you really want to get back into something, but the seizures do get in the way, you're better off admitting that to yourself and making sure that the situation can still be conducive to everybody else having a good time. Can't help but feel guilt about thinking you've ruined something for the family. That's annoying. Somebody here is talking about SEEG stimulation. So I knew I was getting implanted SEEG electrodes in my brain, but I thought it was just to read the activity. What I didn't know was that they'd be sending an electric signal through those SEEG leads towards the end of my EMU stay to try to trigger those seizures. That was the most wild feeling I've ever had. I'm still messed up. I can't tell what's real. They claimed they witnessed epileptic activity, but I don't think I had a focal unaware, only focal aware. But I'm still confused. This happened an hour ago. I have to watch the room video recordings of this event and go in depth into the SEEG recordings post stimulation. Wow. An hour after, and they're coherent enough to post this. So that's impressive.
That's what
I
I
don't
was
think,
thinking.
yeah, I don't think I had to do any consultations or talk about the results of the SEEG that soon after. Have you guys ever had any of those invasive ones?
I haven't
No.
yet. But I didn't know that SEEG could emit a signal. That's a curious, and you would know, Kate, because you had an SEEG. They're just
Yeah, but this
recording.
was all like surgical prep. So
Yeah.
I knew how important it was to have those seizures, and it was so easy to predict how many doses I had to miss and like to the hour. I
Mhm.
knew when they were coming.
What was
So
that
that was
like?
enough.
Like, what was that
It was an
like?
induced seizure. I kept thinking how much I wanted to wash my hair. That's
No, like them putting those in. How did they? I mean, they drill a hole in your head, right?
well, honestly, the SEEG leads I don't think were as invasive. Like I didn't actually they didn't take a part of my skull out until they put the RNS in. I think the SEEG was either a really tiny part of your skull, or maybe they go in through. I don't know why I think of it as like a fault line, but
Mhm.
I
some
know
part
what
where
you mean.
yeah. So I think that's how they do the SEEG, because they could do a lot of that by camera now. And but they were upfront with me about the capability and the intention of getting the SEEG procedure done. What's concerning about who posted this is they didn't even know that could happen. And apparently the team is asking them to do a follow-up an hour after, like to talk, go over the readings. That's kind of high expectations of somebody who obviously just had a
Yeah,
induced seizure.
no kidding.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I know, because I'm like, say my name, because I don't know it. That's how I am an hour after a tonic-clonic. It's like I don't even know.
Yeah, for me, it's like the wet cloth on the face. Like something sensory has to bring me back to reality.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you need that sudden reset, like the splash in your face, or like you said, that cold washcloth. But an
Mhm.
hour after a seizure that was induced with SEEG, I don't know if it could induce it, but definitely being off our medication does. Those are provoked intentionally when we're in the EMU. And I wonder if they're assuming that the electrodes did it when it was really the interruption in the medication.
Well,
But
the OP, it looks like, knows what they're talking about because they responded to somebody else's comment, um, who was just talking about my doctor talked about doing this. They wanted like an overall gist of like how it went. And the OP writes back, yeah, this wasn't the ablation or cauterization. It's only testing, not treatment. I had no idea this was happening until yesterday, 4 days post implant. I was sending a very low current, or no, it was sending a very, very low current over the wires to part of my parietal lobe to see how it responds, to see if it's part of my seizure network. They see 2 problem spots structurally, and during the SEEG captured seizures, so they said they were trying to poke it in other spots to learn more. Okay, so this might have been somebody who actually had something show up on an MRI. Because when I
yeah,
went in for the SEEG, I had no, points of suspicion. So that's why the
There's a
electrodes were just
question in
everywhere.
the chat.
Ebon, what was that you said? You compared SEEG to EEG? I didn't get to see it. I think I seen both of them
Yeah, you're right. Sorry,
I'm
guys. I put the chat on that side of my screen.
sorry. I'm just asking, does SEEG same with EEG monitor?
Thanks for your question. And SEEG is supposed to accomplish the same thing as the EEG, but it's more invasive. I think the S stands for I want to say subdural, but I don't know if that's the right word. Where they put the electrodes, you know how they usually put the little sticky things on your head for an EEG? For an SEEG, they do that, but under your skull. So it's on your
Oh,
brain.
damn.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah, a
all.
little
Thank
different.
you. Thank you.
It's supposed to be more accurate, able to see like deeper into your brain, basically.
Stereo electroencephalo cephalon. It's a whole lot. It's like an 8-syllable word.
So the S is for stereo something.
Stereo electro
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's not something.
encephalography. There we go. Stereo electroencephalography.
Okay, yeah, and this person did not actually stop their meds. They say they were responding to another comment saying, yeah, I've had 6 or 7 seizures on SEEG this week, starting without stopping my meds, but they did stop my meds quickly after the implant. My right hippocampus and right amygdala seemed the worst despite normal MRI, so they were trying to poke the focal cortical dysplasia area they saw on the MRI to see if that area is also involved, as well as poke the left side to see if that's another seizure onset or area spreading from right there. Yeah, I guess if they're doing these invasive EEGs, then they want to make sure it's worth it. I don't know. Who knows? It was a couple years ago. Maybe they did do some stimulation with mine and I was already having seizures, so I wouldn't remember. I never get auras or memory, especially after the bad ones. So that seems more thorough. Like the insurance is not going to pay for the procedure unless they make sure you're getting all the rates, all the
oops.
hot spots, basically.
I'm fascinated that I'm like, I don't want to doubt this because there's always advances. And if they can stimulate a seizure with SEEG, hoorah. Okay. Kudos. I'm glad we're at that point because that would make it more worth it. But it seems like the OP wasn't fully informed as far as what's going on because an SEEG is only done with the anticipation of surgery. So it's either, I mean, it's either you're going to have an ablation, resection, or an implant. So I don't know if this person is aware of that, which kind of scares me because if their doctor is doing an SEEG without the intention of surgery, that's kind of off. But I hope they know what the purpose is. But if they made the SEEG like a two-way electrode, you know what I mean? I'm fascinated. I really am. Because there was stuff that they were developing at Texas A&M. So now I'm like, I gotta find out. I'm
Well, you're gonna love this. The OP wrote back to another comment saying, yes, mine have generalized recently too. They caught one on the second day of the CEG. Yes, they restarted Xcopri last night before the stimulation today, which was my current medication, and also gave an extra dose of lacosamide, which I stopped 2 months ago. I have my SEEG removal surgery tomorrow and happy to answer more questions. Okay. So maybe they just got them back on their meds on, in prep for the removal. That last
yeah,
sentence kind of helped sum it up, saying they're having their removal surgery tomorrow and they got them back on their meds last night. So maybe that's why they wanted it to be like a full 24 hours. But that definitely sounds like this OP might have understood the procedure, but not the intention, like you said.
right. Yeah, I hope this person knows that they're probably going to have something going on next.
Yeah, this is not just a standard next step.
Right. Wow.
But if you get a full spectrum of all your options, that's probably better. I'm still suspicious, I guess you could say, of any time they induce a seizure, because I feel like those are different than the random ones that happen for, in response to other triggers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and goes to show you, mine haven't stopped. So they're definitely just gonna have to keep playing with the settings until they figure out if they actually got all of my focal points. So whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about you guys today, with my doctor. I was like, yeah, I know a bunch of people because I'm in a couple of groups, and I'm finding out a whole lot more here because it's like we're sitting around the table talking about this. And I told him, I said, I know somebody who had the RNS, and I literally watched her have a seizure during a Zoom meeting. And he was like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it happens, So I just want you to know some people are told this is something to help you not need medication, this, that. No, it did definitely improve her recovery time. It improved the length and, the duration of the seizure, but she's still having seizures with an RNS and medication. So I'm aware, and I'm not being negative in any way. I am aware that there are things that, yeah, we could do this to improve the situation, but it might not go away. And
And nobody's gonna gaslight you in the meantime.
right. And that's where for this OP, I'm like, I am just literally sending that out there that I hope you know what's really going on and that they're getting you ready for some sort of surgery that is definitely more involved than SEEG. So that's my thing. It's like I hope they know. Maybe they do, and you know, Pookie, you're making me dizzy, man. Are you okay over there doing flips? Yeah,
Oh, me?
yeah. Your camera is like you're doing somersaults. You're cracking
Yeah, I
up.
had to read the thing, and since you guys' chat is
Yeah,
like that, when I press it, it turns my screen all over the place. So I'm reading and stuff, and
eh,
I just found out I was home alone. I just checking locations of people, and doesn't seem like there's any locations here. So
I lost my phone today, so I decided to just take a nap because I'm like, okay, I have my tablet, but the calls don't always come through. I had to make phone calls. I'm like, I'm gonna take a nap till 3 o'clock because Yeah, no, it turned out to be 5:30. I woke up, but hey, we know how it goes. And I'm like, damn it, the
Well, don't
stress.
you love that's how like we have to track people down now that we live with, like in these little 700, 900 square foot places. It's like you have to check
I know.
locations now instead of just calling out.
I know. And I'm like on my watch, I'm like, oh, I find device. I see. So I texted my daughter on my tablet, and sure enough, I had left my phone in the car. So before the anxiety turned into panic, I'm like, well, damn, we still have ice cream. I don't care. That's the note I left to my daughter. It's like, okay, I'm fine. It's like, well, we still have some ice cream. I'm good. It's kind of like the code word in the family. It's like, everything's fine. We still have ice cream. So my phone was in the car.
Good to have a safe word.
In the car. So I'm like, well, damn. Okay. But I hate that stress of losing my phone. But yeah, tracking everybody down. I'm tracking down my phone. It's like, how dare you leave me alone?
Spooky, was Anne here when you went over yesterday?
Nope, she wasn't here at all.
Oh shoot, what did I miss?
Please share.
So yeah, don't you just feel like so alone without your phone?
Yes.
Like
I do. I absolutely. So yeah.
it's crazy how alone I felt without my phone when I left my phone in a lift yesterday.
Oh.
I was like, what do? I was like, I used my phone to get a ride here, and I used my phone to get a ride here to buy food. Now I can't buy food or get a ride back home. And now I don't have money to give anybody money because everything's in my phone. And I was just like, I am so like lost here. Just feel like the most vulnerable ever, like naked. Like there's nothing you can do. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah. That
what do I
naked.
do? And then I didn't know anyone's phone numbers. So it's like I'm just sitting here now because who do I call? Because I don't write down numbers anymore. I remember the last 4 digits of my mom's phone number, but that would never help. So luckily, after a few people, I think there was like one person, he let me use his phone and he was really not sure at first. And I was just like, I'm just gonna call my phone and that's all I gotta do. I left in an Uber, all that. I mean a Lyft. And at first he was like, I don't know. And I was like, that's when I noticed a lot of people, yeah, trying to give people your phone does seem kind of weird now. When I asked him and he was looking like I was asking him a weird question. But yeah, after the store UPS let me use their phone, I called and called and called, and the guy he was like, "Okay, I'm here." He was like, "What do I do?" And I was like, "You can bring it back to me." It's like I'm still at the same place. It's like I can give you a tip, and he was like, "Okay." So that's where I messed up at. I told him I'd give him a tip, so I gave him a tip, and then I had to pay back the Lyft people for having him come back to me. So he got the $20 that I paid them, and the only $10 cash that I had on me, because I was like, okay, you deserve this tip. If I would have knew they were going to tip you too, you just got $30 and you can quit the day.
You helped him get there, right? But damn, yeah, I feel naked. I feel
Without
naked.
that phone, yeah, I was going to say that it feels like you just the most vulnerable state ever. Like, what do I do? I was sitting there and there was this one guy that was passing and he was asking me about the restaurant next to me. And I was just like, I don't even know. I never even been there to tell you what it's like. And I told him, I was like, I lost my phone. And he was like, when I seen you and you looked at me, he was like, you seemed like you had something going on up here that you didn't want to explain. And I was just like, okay, yeah. I can hear my heartbeat. I was mentally going through something and I couldn't explain it. And I was like, this is really how people are when we lose our phones. What would I have done if I didn't know where my phone was at because of the Apple location thing? And then my phone actually having the mobile hotspot on to do that. And I didn't just lose one phone, I lost two phones. This and my iPhone. So yeah. I should have noticed when the AirPods told me that they disconnected, and I did not. That was a sign that I should have paid attention to. I thought they were dying or something. Ding ding, like yeah, okay.
I was
But
gonna
yeah,
say, do your AirPods talk? I've never gotten like the brand name earbuds because I always thought they would just fall out too easily. So these, other brand ones just beep. They never actually talk to me. I was thinking if the AirPods actually talk to you, maybe they are worth it. But they
I
don't
mean,
actually tell you now disconnected or something.
no, they don't tell you now
Okay.
disconnected. They just do a little bing sound, and other than that, when you're near it, you can talk to Siri. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the same as these ones with the little hooks that stay on easier. But either way, we'll all definitely have a little hyperventilation if we lose our phones.
yeah.
I think we can agree on that.
This took me back to this because you weren't here, and when I asked this question, um, I don't think I've ever asked you what general area do you stay in, but this will say it all. What constitutes a walkable city? I say I have
Um,
everything right here: grocery stores, food, restaurants, liquor stores, taquerias. Everything right here is pretty much walkable, and the bus stop is directly in front of the apartment complex. So I got
yeah,
everything pretty much here.
that's what exactly. I consider, especially in my condition, I consider a walkable city one that is, has things that you can walk to, like you said, and like within a 10 block radius and bus stop, at least one bus stop that you can get to within 4 blocks. The bus stop here is 3/4 of a mile from my house. It is not a walkable city for someone like me. Um, we have plazas 3/4 of a mile down the road. This is one of the busiest roads in our town. Um, Sometimes it's the busiest in the entire county. So I don't want to be walking down a road that's 30 miles an hour and people are doing 50 and 65 miles an hour. It's just a fact of life here. But no, a walkable city, I would say at least one bus stop in a 10 block, maybe 6 block radius. But yeah, stuff you can get to and not have to walk a mile, you know.
Yeah, we got smoke shops, 2 gas stations, one on this corner behind me. Across the street, there's restaurants and another taqueria in the parking lot. And across the street, there's a taqueria on the corner, liquor store across the street. Yeah,
Yeah.
both directions, there's restaurants, grocery stores. But yeah, pretty much got everything here. And yeah, like I said, the bus stop is like right outside the front of the complex. Luckily, it's a decent complex. We're in the code to get in and all that stuff.
Yeah, walkable definitely within a couple of blocks, not a mile. Um, but yeah, a
Half a
walkable
mile at
city.
most.
Half a mile at
Necessities.
most.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about 10 blocks. Yeah. But not being in a food desert is nice. Um, Been there. Yeah. But I'm still thinking about the phone and how much it stresses us out but why? We know
You
why.
don't know until you don't have it.
Yeah,
And
that's our
why? Like
connection
I
to
was so mind boggled as to why am I feeling like this? It is a cell phone.
but
And
when I figured that out, I was like, shit, I should have this like implanted or something because how it's my connection to safety, and we get that separation anxiety in a very intense way because what if something happens? I have no safety. And that's what gets me when I lose my phone. But I wasn't out in the wild and lost my phone like you did. I was home when I realized I lost my phone, but I had a whole list of phone calls I have to make. And I'm like, well, damn, that's not getting done. But that first reaction, it's like I feel like I was just dropped on an island in Survivor. I'm not kidding. It's like looking around, it's like, what am I going to do now? It's our connection to our lifeblood, our safety, our phones have become
mental
so
health.
yeah. And when I was a kid, having a phone on a wall and an older adult falls, that's just as bad because you're laying there and you're looking at that damn phone and you can't get to it. So, yeah, the beauty of cell phones and watches. I can use my phone um, and make a phone, or my watch and make a phone call, but I couldn't do it when my phone was 3 miles away.
I was thinking that like fall detection isn't here. I can fall all I want, but my phone isn't in my pocket. So
Yeah, I
this
know.
isn't gonna give me fall detection.
I'm like, is this watch gonna let my phone know? But it's in the car. My daughter is in the studio. She's not gonna hear it, and all those thoughts are racing. I hate that part. It's like everything. What do they call that?
That
Catastrophizing.
unknown, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think of everything horrifying that could happen when I don't have my phone. And usually I can bring myself back and say, you know what? I'm just part of the plan. Whatever happens was supposed to happen. I was just being tested. And I was. It's like I did not freak out. And it's probably the first time in a long time that I didn't have a meltdown over losing my phone. But that's when we think about what it means to us when we lose it. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I do know a few phone numbers. That is a really good thing to your in case of emergency. I can't even say the word ICE anymore. Sorry guys. The political unrest. But in case of emergency, yeah, your ICE list, okay? Memorize those phone numbers. I was able to give them my daughter's phone number when I was having a really bad seizure in Buffalo in, I think it was like 2012. So we're talking a decade or more ago. And I knew her number enough to give them her number when I was in an interictal state. I don't
Amazing.
even when I woke up and I'm like, how the hell? What the hell? Because she lived in New York City and I was in Buffalo. I'm like, why are you here? Well, she
So that
called
was
her.
enough time for contact and travel,
Yes.
and you were
So,
post-ictal the whole time.
yep. So of course the whole sibling team was there. They're like, "What the hell, mom? How?" And when they came in and said you weren't even coherent, and we asked you who we should call, and that was the number that my brain gave them, and it was my daughter's phone number. It's like, how did I do that? But it's a good idea to memorize them because it stays in your brain, and you never know. Your brain might give that information when you really need it or not, but it was there. And that's why it's so important to memorize the phone numbers. But I thought
You
it was
just reminded me something. I actually have my wallet I had my wallet in my pocket at the time. And I have this emergency contact card right here that I wrote phone numbers on that I actually could have pulled out. But when I think about it, they weren't going to be able to help me besides telling me where the phone was at. Because them calling it, they wouldn't be able to tell them. Well, they might be able to tell them, go back to your location and all that. But yeah, I was there and I was like, I don't know who to call. And yeah,
and you
I
just now
was
realize, yeah,
I
you
was
just
more
now
scared
realize,
that he was gonna be gone like far gone because the freeway exit is literally right there where he dropped me off at. So
oh,
my thoughts were he's on the freeway somewhere and I'm not gonna get my phone. But he came back in like 40 minutes, which the whole 40 minutes I was sitting in the parking lot, sitting on the curb waiting and waiting. And when I seen him, I was like, oh, this is a relief.
oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Like I said, that freeway right there left so many thoughts in my head. I had so much doubt that it's going to take all day. I'm going to be sitting here. And I already knew he was far because when I got out of the car, I got in line, like 4 people in front of me. And when I finally get to the register, I'm talking to the guy about the stuff I was returning to Amazon. And we're talking about it. He's like, oh, yeah, this, and that. I forgot the specific conversation. But then, yeah, when I went to pay for it is when I found out, oh, pat in my pockets, I can't pay for this because I don't have my phone. And when I told him that, he didn't really understand. But yeah, debit cards in my pockets and stuff. I usually keep money in savings account and not just on the card. So like I said, I was just lost. No card, no phone, no lift, no emergency call anybody. Yeah, I was really terrified. I was thinking all kinds of weird stuff. Like I started looking at my arms and I was like, my hairs were sticking up. Then I started thinking, what direction do your hairs grow? Because I don't actually know.
It's like,
So
just
you were
think
way
about
beyond
anything
what
else.
if.
Yeah, I was looking at my arms thinking weird things like, what if this fingerprint was to change or I burn it or something and would it grow back different? Yeah, I never
You were
thought
out
about
there.
that. Like, which direction do the arm hairs grow? Sometimes they look like they're going that way.
They grow in every direction, believe it or not, but we won't get into that. But it's like, I
Yeah,
hear you, man. We start thinking about anything else and just hope that our brain doesn't go sideways on us.
So that's a
But
coping mechanism.
yeah, it is. It really is.
Awesome.
I do that. I forgot what my therapist called it, but it's something melange where your brain just shuts down when something, because it's like an emotional deregulation.
heard of it.
Yep. And you literally cannot think. Your brain cannot access cognitive function, reasoning. So we do shit like that. And here you are. It's like, oh, I just remembered I have this card in my pocket, but you didn't remember it when you needed it. And that's that melange. It's like, ah, shit, I could have just pulled this out and here's all these phone numbers. But in the moment, everything is just flooding our brain from adrenaline to, I don't know, some Zeus magic god, because my brain does not work in situations like that, literally. So I give you kudos, Pookie, for not freaking out sitting on that curb. I wouldn't have been able to sit still.
I was freaking out.
Yeah, dude. I'm What the heck is going on? We are doing some crazy shit. Losing our phones, we're having seizures. I mean, we all take turns. We have these like clumps of members that have seizures at the same time. And it's like, what the hell? Was it the stars? We all had a seizure this weekend.
Right.
What? Yeah. But
Someone said it was the moon.
we both lost our phones. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. That's
it's
when
a
I
moon.
noticed that I really need my phone and I should go to the ATM and get at least, my sister said, have at least $20 in cash on you at all times.
Yep.
That's a good idea.
She's the good sister, right?
The $10 that I did have, I gave to the driver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. So I had nothing to, like I said, I was stranded. It was so sad. I was just like, what am I gonna do? I can't get home because I can't call a lift. I'd be walking
Dude.
with nobody. I've never put out the thumb and see if anybody would take me. I was thinking about stuff like that.
Oh God, I've done that. It's like, I'll just hitchhike home. Screw this, right?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, what do I do next? Do I just hitchhike? So
But
many thoughts
picture
were
it.
going through my head about just being stranded. Like this has never happened.
Okay, let me make you laugh because it made me laugh. I'm under 5 foot tall. I'm finally under 200 pounds. So, but I'm a chubby little old granny, okay? Picture that hitchhiking. Just picture it. Oh,
You're gonna ride.
Anybody would stop for you in a heartbeat.
You get a
especially if I
ride
had.
before I did.
Now, imagine this little old lady is walking with a rollator, you know, the walkers with the 4 wheels, and it starts to rain. And I'm trying to get up the hill to get home, and it is like, yeah, torrential downpour out of nowhere. I'm trying to get home and I'm waving my hand, like, but I wouldn't turn around because I wanted to face where I was going. And I'm like, screw this. And all these cars are giving me these little toot toot as they go by. And I'm waiting for someone to pull over. But no, I'm just getting the toot toot. And I'm like, okay, if that toot toot, I don't care who you are, comes again, it's going to be like, you know, so that's my walk home that day was a series of toot toot, fuck you, toot toot, fuck you. Yeah, so this little old groovy granny definitely does not want to hitchhike. I'm not very successful.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking about it. Like I said, I was thinking about so much stuff. Like, how would I hitchhike? Never tried this before, and I was looking at my arms, like my arm hairs are standing up. Then I was like, which hair do arm hairs grow? Which direction do they grow in? So my mind was far out. I was just like, I'm waiting for this guy to get here, even though I know he's on the way with my phone. I'm still in that same moment, like he's not on the way. Yeah. Yeah. And
Lots
the
of
guy,
worst case scenarios come to mind.
yeah, the guy at the store at first, he told me I couldn't use the phone. So then I'm outside asking people. And then when I came back in and sat down, then he was like, just gave me the company phone and pressed the numbers for me to call people, like call dial out or whatever the case. So yeah, there was that. And like I said, it's difficult losing a phone, and I now know I need to go get cash.
Please take your medication as prescribed or whatever works for you. We're not doctors.